All right, so I'm here with Sabrina.
Hi.
So what is your art, Sabrina?
My art, I would say there are a lot of things that I would consider art for myself and how I consider myself an artist. I do some styling, I act, and I also do media personality for an online magazine called One Fan.
Cool. So before we get into everything that you do, because you do a lot of things, where are you from?
I'm from, okay, so I was born in Connecticut. I went to school in Haiti for like a couple years. I moved to Cambridge, so I like to say I'm from Cambridge. But then I moved to Boston too, and I went to school in BPS for school until I graduated high school. But I've been living in Randolph for 10 years.
Cool. So you said that you are a fashionista.
Yeah.
You like to design. Tell me about that a little bit.
So less on the terms of like designing, more on the terms of like styling, or unless like designing. Okay, so I get to do photo shoots, and I pretty much style the photo shoots. So pretty much what I do is I do little mini vision boards, and I kind of create a look. If it's me personally, I kind of get a general idea of like what I want to do, and I can kind of go through my closet and pick out looks. But if I'm doing it for a clothing line, I like to do a vision board just to see like what our theme is, what the concept's going to be, location, and then I kind of like to fill it up and just kind of like put it to life and send it to the photographer and like the clothing line director who I'm working with, and we can kind of like collaborate together and like figure out what to do from there. It's nice because I get to see it on paper before I like execute the plan, and it's also good too because things come out that you like, things just randomly come to me while I'm doing it, and like especially when you're working with your hands, you get to see it come like alive together on the paper. It's just a cool process, and I think it's beneficial to the process of styling.
So, and the other thing that you do, you said you run the website. Well, not run, but you're a part of the website, and you're a part of this company. You're basically a publicist, pretty much, like a journalist. Tell me a little bit about that.
So I work with One Fan magazine. It's an online magazine we launched about a month and a half ago, and pretty much our platform we focus on current events, politics, arts, fashion, music, and just like local upcoming artists. And we're located and based in Boston, and we're just we're centering arts and all the great things that happen here, and just kind of like putting it on an online platform where people can get access to, and other people from different parts of the globe can kind of see what we do. What I do particularly is I do the media personality. So media personality means I do everything from the interviews, whether it's local artists or upcoming artists, whether it's rappers who come here and I do a meet and greet with them. Sometimes I get to interview them, sometimes we just take pictures. If it's an artist who's coming to perform, like we go to the shows. We just recently went to the Justine Skye show, and that was cool. I interviewed King Louis, and we do have a couple more interviews coming up, but pretty much we're just media. I just kind of like try to put myself out there and like go to as many shows as I can and connect with artists and kind of like put Boston on the map, kind of.
Yeah. So how do you think, so you know, you're a designer and, you know, you're working with media and stuff, and both industries are somewhat whitewashed. They are whitewashed.
Right.
How does it feel? So first off, let me ask you this. When did you fall in love with your art?
I fell in love with my art. Okay, so I fell in love with acting when I was in middle school. I'm still really shy, but acting kind of helps me express myself because though I'm being somebody else, it helps me kind of like tap into different emotions that I don't use on a regular basis. So it's gotten me comfortable with myself, and it's really allowed me to really learn who I am as a person. So I fell in love with acting like immediately, and directing, and I kind of like being in charge and like seeing how it goes. I like seeing my work come to life. I fell in love with fashion. Like, I've just always loved clothes, and I've always loved shopping. Shopping was just always so therapeutic for me, but I particularly fell in love with it my senior year when we were asked to to make Tumblr pages about our college experience. And I started to do that, but I started dabbling, and I was like, oh my god, like, look at all this clothes, look at all this fashion, like, what? So, like, I was really able to kind of, that allows me to express myself better because I'm not acting all the time, and I don't have the time or the commitment to really, like, be in a show or, like, audition. Even auditioning, too, is a process in itself. You don't get everything, but, like, you have to look for the auditions, and it's a lot. So, like, I kind of let my clothes express myself and, like, do the talking. And media, that kind of came about, like, when Instagram came about. Like, I just thought Instagram was kind of like, whatever. But the more I see young people using it, I feel like we can definitely use it as a tool for, like, we can spread good, and we can use it as a resource to kind of, like, show a different form of expression and show students or show kids, young kids especially, that you don't have to be fighting on Vine. You can just say, this is what I'm wearing, this is what I put together, and this is how I did it. Yeah.
So how do you think, you said your first love is acting pretty much. How do you think acting and being a woman of color have combined? Do you feel like your self-esteem grew, or you feel like you grew more confidence because of acting as a woman of color in society, where it is a very whitewashed industry?
Yeah.
You know, majority of the time you are in an audition and there are the white
People
girl
everywhere.
yeah,
Only black
exactly.
girl,
Yeah.
and then maybe an Asian girl. Like, no, it totally, it helps my confidence and it helps my self-esteem because, one, it just allowed me to really be comfortable with who I am as a person. I had to just learn to really love myself and really not be so hard on myself, because we're already hard on ourselves, but, like, and we're our own worst critics if we allow ourselves to be, but we have to live with ourselves the rest of our lives. And if you don't like the person you are, there's no way that you can convince other people to like you too. So it's definitely helped my self-esteem because I can't let other people bring me down. I kind of, like, theater's taught me to leave it at the door, leave all my emotions, leave all my baggage at the door. I'm a blank canvas, and I just kind of need to go, and, like, I just kind of need to go on to the next. If I don't get this audition, great, go on to the next. It's allowed me to handle failure, and it's allowed me to handle failure really well, and it's allowed me to put in my mind, like, acceptance and growth, and it's allowed me to, like, develop who I am today. So I think my 18-year-old self would be like, oh my god, I want to be friends with her, like, today, just because, like, I'm just so much more confident than I was in high school. I know you could probably, like, see for that. I've always been friendly, but, like, I'm definitely just more aware of myself, because I think it's a responsibility to be a black woman, and I think it's a beautiful thing. So, like, it's my responsibility to show you that I'm amazing. You want to have me in your production, and if you don't, great, that's great. I'm gonna just do it myself, like, you know, with a team, like, yeah.
That's real. So you kind of transitioned from acting into this media superwoman, into this, like, designer where you're wearing, like, these funky clothes and really, you know, exemplifying who you are.
Yeah.
How do you think that's different from being a woman of color and being an actor? How do you consider it different, you know, because you're now a woman of color who's a designer, and you're a woman of color who's, you know, this media
so,
media
like,
queen?
Thank you. Well, I think being a woman of color in theater has just definitely, what I've realized is it's just opened my mind to so many other, like, other aspects of art. I remember we'd be in high school and they tell us, you know, you're not always going to get the role, it's not always acting, there are different expressions, there are different ways to express your art, and there are different ways to kind of create art. And I've really, that's kind of just, once I accepted that, everything else just kind of came to light. Like, I still, in my mind, in the back of my mind, I still think I'm going to be a great, like, film actress, you know what I mean? And still do theater. But also, I've accepted that, alright, I need to kind of still do art and keep art in my life and still stay who I am and remain true to myself, but to work. And other things have kind of come to me, and I've gotten, like, amazing opportunities because of my openness. So, yes, like, it's difficult being a woman of color and, like, getting rejection after rejection after rejection. After a while, there, you can keep going and keep striving and keep going on those auditions. But it gets to a point where you're like, all right, this rejection, it just kind of like, it's like, all right, something's got to give, and I kind of need to do it myself. If it's not working this way, then I need to try it a different way, and I need to see how else I can come about it. And like, I mean, there's going to be racism, unfortunately, everywhere. Or not even racism, there's going to be colorism in a lot of places, and it's going to be hard, especially if you're trying to target, like, if you're trying to be global. But it's all about acceptance. It's about having a great team, a great cohesive team, where you can have your support. And it's also about confidence and just remaining true to who you are. If you know who you are as a person, nobody can tell you anything about yourself. If you know what you're capable of, no one can get to you, because you know what you contribute, you know what you bring to society, and you know who you are, pretty much.
So, you talk a little bit about colorism. This will be the last question. You talk a little bit about colorism, and we were briefly talking about it before we started recording. I'm a lighter black girl, you're a darker black girl. How do you think that has affected you? It can either be negative or positive. I would prefer positive, though. I hope it's positive.
No, so how it's affected me, I've really just learned, I feel like sometimes society has created this like negative notion between lighter skin and darker skin. Definitely. And like that whole team light skin, team dark skin thing, I just thought that was ridiculous. And like they're setting us up against each other, and that's what they want. That's what they do to break us down. And what I'm loving that I'm seeing lately is just we're being more cohesive. There are more natural girls. Look, if you wear a perm, I still rock with you, but there's still more natural girls. Like, everybody's just really evolving and becoming the young, black, beautiful people they are. And I see it starting, and I know like, they have no idea what we're capable of and what we're about to do. Like, the takeover is real, and the come up is real, and I'm just so excited because, honestly, the work that you're doing is amazing. The work that my other friends are doing is amazing. And the more work that we continue to do, the more we develop ourselves in our careers and really establish ourselves, like, we're just going to be unstoppable. There's not going to be a darker, lighter. It's just going to be flavors and sisters.
And like, all the brown people.
That's it. All the brown people winning. Like, that's what we need to do.
So for the last thing, let's wrap this up. Can you say to the camera, I am an artist of color and I am proud? My name is Sabrina St. I am an artist of color and I am proud. That's funny.